Welcome back, everyone, to Lesser Known Operators. I'm your host, Nicholas Allen, and my guest today is the Nick O'Kelly, a return episode. Nick is a former Green Beret, a former Night Stalker with the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment. He was a pilot over there. And he is now a newly published, well, on October 21st, a newly published author. His book, Stigma. He's trying to break the stigma about mental health and raise awareness towards the issues that soldiers are going through in these times. I'll have links to the book where you can pre-order it in my link tree and in the show description. Today's episode is brought to you by the Green Beret-owned business Precision Wellness Group and Dr. Taylor Bosley. Precision Wellness Group helps you fuel your momentum through bioidentical hormone therapy and evidence-based personalized telemedicine. Dr. Taylor Bosley is a board-certified physician, a U.S. Army veteran, and a former Green Beret. So he knows where you've been, where you want to go, and how to get you there. And he's an actual doctor who can prescribe you actual medicine. That's a bonus, unlike some of these other companies. So if TRT, HRT, hormones, testosterone, peptides are something you've been thinking about for a while now, or just looking into, look no further than Precision Wellness Group and Dr. Taylor Bosley. Southern Pines, North Carolina, in-person and telemedicine. We're also brought to you today by Alpha Elite Performance. Get your supplements for the gym, alphaeliteperformance.com. Use code LKO15 at checkout to save 15% on your purchase. I do appreciate you guys. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, comment, pass these episodes along. Thank you for listening. Leave us a review and enjoy the show. Nick O'Kelly, welcome back to Lesser Known Operators, man. Thanks for coming back on.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me back. I love following you. I love riding in your coattails on all this, man.
No, we all rise together. We all rise together, and we were both starting out when, God, what was it? Episode 6, right?
Yeah.
I think you came out.
Yeah, like what, 6 months ago?
It is, yeah. I believe the episode came out in like February or March or something like that, and this one will come out sometime in September. So, it's crazy. It's crazy. You got your light fixed. You got a bunch of new books in the background there. I hope your Objective Secure is signed there now that you guys are working together.
It will be. It will be.
It will be.
Yes. TBD on time and location, but it will be.
No,
yeah,
that's
man.
fine.
I'm improving the foxhole every single day. It's not cheap though. I'll definitely admit that.
It isn't, right? But I started telling you a story and then I broke off right before we started about this pilot. I watched this reel the other day, and he was saying how you're very careful as a pilot on your first through your like 29th takeoff. And he said, at my 30th takeoff, I was the most dangerous to myself, the enemy, and friendlies that I'd ever been, because I thought I knew what I was doing. And I could have easily made a mistake that could have cost people their lives, or myself or other people their lives. Now, that's an extreme example where people's lives are at risk. But, I was saying it before, I'm at a point where now I'm like, at least I'm aware. I feel like on a podcasting sense, I'm dangerous because I'm like, okay, I got this. I can just sit down and start recording. But then I'm like, man, I made some mistakes on checking my equipment on a couple episodes, and I lost content that I wasted the whole day on. And then you look at the opportunity lost on that, and it does compound, and you go, God. So I look at mine and go, hey, you're not any good, man. You're not good yet. Like you're coming up, but you don't know what you're doing because all your experience is just surface level right now. And now I said with you, people coming back, well, now you got to be interesting a second time. And now the story's out of the way. My whole outline over here,
right?
It doesn't apply because we already did all that. So now we got to have a conversation about, okay, what are we continuing on? Why are you back here? What are we talking about? Can you be interesting? Can you be funny? Absolutely not. I can't be funny, but everybody thinks I am. But now we get to come back.
Your
and have
memes
a
are funny, dude. Your reels are funny. You got to give yourself credit for that. But yeah, man, on the pilot note, dude, that's such a good analogy because there's like an old, I don't know the adage or the whatever, but as a pilot, when you get like, you make piloted commands, so say you got like 500 flight hours, right? Which is typically like a year and a half ish, 2 years, depending on your timeline to get there. Dude, that's when you're the most dangerous because you're like, I got this shit, right? Like I can do it. And the reality is a lot of times for a lot of pilots, it takes like them scaring the shit out of themselves to get out of that overconfident mode, or something happening, right? Like so perfect story in Afghanistan, my first deployment, I make pilot in command, which is when you're in charge of the aircraft, right? Like you're no longer a junior pilot. Now you get to be the senior pilot in the aircraft. So this was the first month of me flying as a pilot in command. And we're landing to an airfield to Dalkey. Shank is what it used to be called. And so it's like in the mountains. I don't remember the elevation. It was like 5,000 feet. So it wasn't at sea level. It was high enough that like power mattered in the helicopter, right? And you had to like look at that. And we're about 3 miles on final. So we're going to land, right? Just like an airplane's, coming down on approach. And our right engine shits the bed. And our temperature goes through the roof. Like our instruments are just going nuts. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Right. And we got a compressor stall, so our right engine like completely blew up. Like it took FOD in somehow and it got in the scroll veins and everything, not to get technical, but got in the engine and the engine couldn't operate. Right. And I was like, holy shit, like this is real, and took the controls and we had to do what's called a roll on landing. So usually in a helicopter, you land without forward movement. So we had to land essentially like an airplane in the helicopter and plant all three wheels down at the same time, because that requires less power to do, because hovering requires more power than if you're moving forward. So that's the perfect example, dude. I was so confident and like, I got this shit. And then out of nowhere, something like that happens. And I'm like, shit, this is actually like, very dangerous what I'm doing.
Yeah. Um,
So perfect example.
everything, right? We do 5 jumps at airborne. You're like, oh, I got this. And then you smack the ground on your 6th one because you're like, you think you know what you're doing. You don't know anything. You're running with the wind, and everybody's watching you, going, "Look at this idiot."
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
not gonna be service connected right there.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Army's not going to
God,
take that liability.
that's got to be something though, because you go because you guys are just two, right? It's just the co-pilot and the pilot, so you're over here, but the the person in charge is on the right side seat,
So typically in the left, actually. So
left.
the
Okay,
junior pilot's usually in the
okay.
right, but it sometimes it depends on like the mission set. If the it's up to the pilot in command where he sits, but the standard is the left seat. Yeah.
So you're just taking over, and you gotta feel pretty good about yourself. You're like, yeah, all this riding high, and then, oof, sobering moment right away. Like,
Dude, yeah.
ooh, we got a major issue here. We gotta take care of this. Wait, oh shit, I gotta take care of this. And
Exactly.
we're
Exactly.
flying a what 10,000-pound machine through the air at
Yeah, it's like
125 miles
yeah.
an hour.
Yeah, it's like 18,000, but yeah, not but yeah, dude, $1 million, $1 million, multi-million dollar helicopter. And yeah, man, you train emergencies all the time, but you never expect something to happen. So it's like, oh shit, here
How
we go.
how do you train emergencies all the time? Like in a
So
bird or in a simulator?
both. So there's ways where you have to fly with an instructor pilot, but there's ways where they can bring like one engine back to idle, right? And it simulates an engine failure, and you basically don't have power from that engine. You have power, but not much. So yeah, things like that. They'll do you have to do things like boost off, which is, so in a Blackhawk, you got really good hydraulics and really good systems, right? Like you could basically not know what you're doing, have your feet off the pedals, not even touch the cyclic, and just pull up on the collective, which is what brings lift to the helicopter. And you can come to a hover. And it might not be the prettiest hover, but you can come to a safe hover and stay there because the systems are designed to keep you in place, right? Unless you move them. But the instructor pilots have the ability to turn all that shit off. So it's basically like flying a helicopter without hydraulics, and you have to muscle all the flight controls to make it do what you want, and it's super like responsive, and everything counters each other like crazy. So there's tons of emergency, like simulated emergencies that they can put in the helicopter to make you recognize like what it looks like in the cockpit, right? And then what you need to do when that happens. So that's actually a huge part of being a pilot, is all the memorization of that stuff, and rote memorization of like, all right, if this happens, what do I do, right? What's my there's a checklist for everything, but most of the time you don't have time to bust out the checklist.
Did you have enough um, computing capacity in your head to realize how good the instructor must be to be able, because he's got to be able to correct it if you fail to correct it, and just and then
Yeah.
so if any of that stuff happens in the real world, he'll just start, okay, I got this. Did you have any wherewithal to know that how much better that training pilot was than you were while you were doing this?
Yes, absolutely, dude. And there, honestly, like there's times like landing in the dust and stuff like that when I was a junior pilot that like I had no confidence in my ability to land in the dust, right? Because you're basically like starting an approach at like 50 feet or 70 feet or whatever, and you're entering into a dust cloud at like 30 feet, and you can't see shit outside. Like you're just trusting that you put the controls in the right position so that the helicopter is landing, greasy side down, and not whatever. You're not drifting. You're not doing anything, and like the to be an instructor pilot in that situation, in my mind, is fucking terrifying, dude. Like the slightest thing could go wrong, right? And they're done too. Like they do like ghost the controls with you, right? So if they feel something that's super off, like they'll jump on them and fix it. But still, dude, like yes. So absolutely, like instructor pilots are, yeah, they deal with a lot, and they deal with a lot of shitty pilots too, which makes it even worse, you know?
Yeah, that too. Because I mean, have you ever taught anybody to parallel park? And it's just like that all the time,
Yes,
but you're
actually, yeah,
you, you have no steering wheel. You're this person out doesn't know what they're, if you're teaching them to
dude.
parallel park, we are well past, okay, here. Why am I teaching you how to do this? And you can't help
Yeah.
them. You just have like, we're going to
You just
hit
have to,
this
yeah,
car.
sit there and be like, it's not that hard.
That's
Yeah.
got to be such a stressful job to be. I mean, it's one thing to be an instructor, but if you're on the ground, you're teaching infantry tactics, you can go, yeah, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. That's fucked up.
Right.
Okay, RD sim. Let's get out of this situation
Yeah.
here, and we'll go talk about it. But man, you're going. You probably instructors look over and go, this person's gonna kill me today. They're
Yeah,
definitely
dude.
they're
Oh, yeah.
and now
Multiple
you got to be
times.
stressed out all day long because this 21-year-old kid is going to try and kill you at 130 miles an hour.
Seriously, dude. And you're just along for the ride. Like, I mean, granted, the instructors know when to step in and not, like
Yeah.
somebody's doing something stupid. They're going to obviously correct it. That's kind of their job, right? Is to be the guardian angel when we don't know what we're doing.
So how's
Yep.
that transferred over now? Because you don't have anybody. You do. We have people that help us on the social media, which has been great. People have been very helpful and guiding the way, but still, uh, they got their own little business to run, and you're starting your own thing. I'm starting my own thing, and then you get off the messages, and you just look at your computer and go, I have to create content. Oh man, like you got
Dude,
to guide
I
yourself
know.
in that stress of that of going, man, I'm in charge now. Like, how do I do this?
Yeah.
How are you you know getting to that point where you're like, I think I know something, but then you'll find out I don't know anything at all. And then the next day it's always something weird. And one thing I just came to a realization a couple days ago was like, somebody called me and wanted to talk to me about a negative comment that they had gotten on one of our posts. And I was like, hey, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, but this is the best solution because it'll just go away if we just do this. It'll just go away. And then you wait a little bit and then you can deal with it on the backside, give some time. Okay. It resolved itself, all taken care of. It actually came out better than we thought it would.
Awesome.
Um, I started thinking, and I didn't realize, like, man, all of my business is on Instagram and Facebook and social media, like all of it.
Yeah, it's
And
weird.
I'm just seeing that, like all of it. And now it's going to start making money and things like that. And I don't think the maybe they would understand if you told them, but the vast majority of people go, "Ah, it's just social media. It's silly. It's silly. You know, it's this," and it is. It's not real. You can put your phone down and just go outside and play in the field and
Of
shoot
course.
hoops and you know and go cut the lawn, and it's out there. But the age we're in, everybody picks the first thing I do in the morning is see who's messaged me. What do I got to do? What business do I got to start for the day? Who do I got to talk to? I got my things, and man, a negative comment can really pull
But
you
yeah,
away
but
from
yeah,
the
dude.
business plan for the day.
So check this out. So I went on the Team House podcast last month, I think. And this was my first like in person, right? Like whatever, in person on YouTube podcast. And so I didn't really like, I mean, yes, I went in prepared and everything, right? But I didn't know all the nuances, right? Like you got to wear certain colored clothes and shit so that like, so I wore these like light gray like executive stretch like pants, right? So they're like slacks, but they're light gray. And when I sat down, they got super tight, right? They got like really tight on my thighs and everything because they're meant to do that, right? They're meant to be like form like fitted. And when I watched the YouTube video, first I watched it and I was like, shit, those look like fucking leggings. Like they were, you know what I mean? They're skin tight and like the lighting and everything. So they looked super tight and it looked like I was wearing like almost leggings. And somebody commented, like, is he wearing his sister's pants? And I was like, fuck, man. So like little shit like that, dude, I would have never even thought about that, right? Like I'm like, these are nice pants. Like this is a nice outfit. I feel good. But then when I go back and watch the video, like, and that negative comment, dude, that like, I was like, he's right, but I'm pissed that he commented it. You know what I mean? Like, because he was right. Like when you watch it, you're like, damn, yeah, those are fucking tight, dude. But at the same time, like, yeah, it took me down for a little bit, man. It was, yeah.
Yeah,
So I
it's
get
a
it.
bummer. It's a bummer. I mean, it's I'm getting better at just ignoring, like, okay. And
Yeah, you
then
have to,
sometimes,
dude.
oh, I can rile this person up and get a few more comments and it'll drive engagement up. But I'm getting better at just ignoring the stuff. And then now being able to tell people, hey, this is what we got to do here. You got to do this. Okay. Okay. Did what you say, is what you said correct? Yeah. Then we don't have anything to worry about. Like there's nothing to worry about here. Um, People are always going to, and one that I try to tell people and myself lately is that this person's probably just trying to be funny, and you can't text funny, like, because you
That's
say
true.
something sarcastically and you lose 90% of that sarcastic tone
Yep.
when you text something and go, this person might just be trying to be funny, and it's not funny. It comes out in written language as an attack. And you
Yeah,
go,
for
ah,
sure.
yeah, this
That's
might
why
be this
those
person just
emojis are
trying.
powerful, dude.
Yeah,
They're underrated.
kids, make sure you put the cryy face emoji if you read it and go, "Hmm, that could be construed as mean. I better throw the emoji that's laughing in there."
Exactly. But yeah, man, back on the content game, like I have gained so much respect for people who have I mean, some people, right? But people who have done it right and built like a platform and things by doing content, putting out content and videos and memes and all the crap that you and I are doing. And it's because it's not easy, dude. Like, even just the strategy that goes behind it, right? Like, I'm dealing with this right now where it's like, and this is kind of an inside look on where I'm at in my content journey, but I started off like everything was mental health, right? Everything was like, how can we, how can I get awareness out there towards the stigmas, towards mental health and all of that? What I realized very quickly is people aren't searching for that, first of all, right? They're not going in to Instagram and searching like, the S word content, right? Like suicidal content. Like that's just not something that people are searching for. So I wasn't growing and I was like, I thought my videos were good, right? Like I was like, every time I did one, I was like, okay, like I feel pretty good about that. But it wasn't what people wanted to hear. So I'm at this pivotal point where I'm like, okay, so this is the overall mission, right? Is to attack the stigmas, bring awareness to them, let people know like they're kind of BS and they're more harmful than they are beneficial. And so I was like, how can I still get that message across while growing, right? And impacting more people. And what I've found is I did a couple videos on like mindset of selection, things like that, right? And those are the ones that are performing. The ones that are like these, mystical things to other people that they haven't experienced that they look up to and they want to know more about it, right? So I'm kind of pivoting. I am pivoting into more of like the mindset side of special operations and stuff like that because it all ties in together. It all really does at the end of the day, and that's what's going to help me impact more people, right? If I can actually grow it.
I really, it's like an entrapment thing. You have to. It isn't. It's marketing, and we're learning it. Because we don't have to market in for most of our career, and then at a
Exactly.
point you do, because then you got, okay, I got to get the mission. I gotta do this brief. I got to impress the commander. Then you get to that when you're briefing op orders, and for you guys, you had to brief something every time you went somewhere. You took
Yeah,
off,
it's
right?
nuts. Yeah.
So you're doing it all the time. Up until a certain point, you don't do that. And if you don't get to that point in the military where you're having to sell yourself, you get out and you kind of don't understand that. Like, hey,
Hmm.
quiet professional's over. Professional. That's what we just need to be. You just need to be professional. You don't need to be quiet. You don't need to be silent. You just need to be professional. Even and like you said, some people are doing it right. Some people are doing it wrong. But even if you're doing it wrong, I mean, it's still hard. The whole thing is hard.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
like they're trying just as hard as the people that are doing right. They might be trying a little harder because they have more considerations in their head, but it's you have to hook your audience.
You do.
And like, I look at some of my funny stuff and I go, this is just gratuitous, terrible. But somebody pointed out to me earlier, I'm going to retain quite a few of those people. And then if I get 10% of those people that I retain to watch the stuff, well, then it's just, you for every 10 people that follow, one really gets into my content. That's a win, like
Yeah.
10%
Heck
retention
yeah.
of the content. So,
Yeah.
um,
And you're putting
and
good stuff out there too. That's so it matters. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier to at least I'm learning it's a lot easier to stay in the game when you like care about what you're doing. You're not just doing it for clicks or watches, whatever follows. You're just, you actually
that's
have a reason
part of
behind
it.
it.
That's part of it because, you want to keep growing and reaching out and getting, and it's evolving and things like that. But you got to, build an audience, and everybody's got a different path. And some people hook them with one thing because, as you said, uh, it's a subject that people don't want to talk about, and I'm keenly aware.
Right.
So
Right.
how do I talk about that? Okay, all right, this is the thing I want to talk about, and it's over there. Well, all right, let's look at the Ranger Handbook. How do I attack that thing over there from here? Okay, well, we got React Contact. We're looking at it, and we're doing this, but we got you know Bravo teams coming around the other side. So what is my plan? So apply that to digital world. You got to come at it from a different direction, because if this isn't working and people that you're just because you're going to meet resistance and
Right.
stuff that
Of
people don't want
course.
to talk about.
Of course.
I've said a few times, people treat that mental health and suicide, talking all like that, like it's a cold, like they're gonna catch it as a sickness
Yes.
and things like that, and they
Yes.
avoid it. Like, you hear somebody cough on the phone, you pull the phone away from your ear, and like that's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
It's a phone. I mean, we haven't developed the technology where you can sneeze through a phone yet and get somebody sick yet. I'm sure Elon will have it out right after this
Yeah.
episode comes out, but it's not out there yet. But that's a real thing. We think that we're gonna catch it. We're gonna catch this sadness and things like that. I mean, that's not really the
Just from
case,
talking about
and
it. Yeah.
just from talking about it,
Yeah.
and also it really sucks to go to these uh, painful get-togethers, like a funeral, wake,
Yeah.
celebration of life, traveling, all of that, and go see the people on a sad occasion. So people kind of avoid them, or and then they feel like they gotta go and they'll go, but they might avoid the next one. But man, if you go, you don't forget that. You really don't
I
forget
know.
that experience. And unfortunately, if you don't have it fresh in your mind, you're gonna forget like a perishable skill to not so for some
Yeah,
people to not
because it
off
comes in
themselves.
waves. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's yeah, man. I don't even know like how to change that as like a full culture, you know? Cuz even on my so I got flagged on TikTok for saying suicide. Like my posts got flagged and taken down and I got a warning whatever the hell they do. And so now I got to say like made that ultimate fatal decision, and I got to tiptoe around it. And I'm just like I get it like it, I don't know. I feel like that in and of itself is almost reinforcing the stigmas that I'm talking about. Right? Is like you can't even bring it up as awareness and like in a not in a negative light. Right? Like I'm not saying like go do this. I'm saying like this is why it's a problem and I'm naming it and shit like that. And like can't even do that, dude. It's kind of crazy. It's almost like this, like you said, like this avoidance mentality.
Abstinence. When did that work
Abstinence,
in
yeah. There you go.
schools? They're like, we're just going to
Yeah.
teach you abstinence. I don't know if that's going to work, guys. I just have a feeling that's not going to work. Um, and but even the overt stuff. I mean, how many times when I was talking to Travis the other day? How many times have you had a team leader, squad leader, platoon sergeant, first sergeant, sergeant major, command sergeant major tell you in a formation, if you need help, get help. And then that's on a 4-day weekend. And what does somebody do right after we leave formation? Well, they go check out of the hotel, and
Yep.
it
Yep.
was like all the time. Maybe not in your unit, but on Fort Hood, it was every
Oh,
weekend.
bro, I've heard the horror
Whether they go
stories.
out and get drunk and crash, like that counter got reset every weekend on Fort Hood. Fort Hood is a big base with a lot of people. Somebody was always and things like that. So they were always having some sort of safety stand down or suicide awareness stand down or something like that. So,
Yeah.
all right. So that ain't working either. Okay. Avoidance isn't working. Okay. So mine, all right. What do I do? What I refer back to, uh, Cook at first group, right? Richie. He goes, Nick, people don't read signs and they don't listen. I go, oh, what do you mean? He goes, man, I could put a piece of paper on the mashed potatoes that say, use the spoon that is sitting on the paper to get the mashed potatoes out. And people would pick up the spoon and the paper and scoop the mashed potatoes out with their hand and put it on their plate. So people don't read signs and they don't
Yeah.
listen. They're
Yeah.
more apt to listen, but they're definitely not going to read. That's why, I mean, when I do read these, they're on audiobooks because I'm not
No, me too.
sit down. Yeah.
Me
So I
too,
got to
dude.
buy the books. I got to buy the books twice. So you got that coming.
Same here. Same here, bro. I do the same thing, man. I'll buy the book to have it, and then I listen to it as well.
So if they're not going to read and they're maybe going to listen, okay, what are they going to do? Well, since we were children, babies, even, right? How did we learn how to do anything? Well, just by watching other people
We
do it.
watch. Yep. Yep. Exposure.
Especially with what we're in, everybody is glued to their phone, and what's on social media, negativity. That's going to feed into your thoughts and just make it worse. But if if you somebody can stand out by doing the opposite of that right now. They can stand out by being maybe not overtly with using words and things like that, but just like, um, for example, on the fitness side. And this is a bummer. I can go anywhere and stand out, just visit from
Yeah.
from my fitness level and go there.
Yep.
And it's like, and people go, oh, what'd you do? Well, I do this. I'll tell you exactly what I do. I'm not a trainer. I'll tell you what I do, and you can do with that information whatever you want. But maybe they'll get down on themselves. Maybe they won't, or maybe when they talk to me, I'll go, hey, here's where I was at this point in my life. And with a little bit of changes, not a lot of bit of changes, very simple changes, you can make this change and do with that whatever you will. But you can't preach to people because they're not going to listen. You can't, You can't brag on things because then people are like, oh, fuck this guy, right? So,
Yeah.
as
Yeah, dude.
Travis said the other
It
day, you got to step over the bodies to get to the next problem or look for work. And what does that work look like? It's tough. It's tough. I don't know what you're seeing.
Yeah, it is. Let me get your take on this. And this is like real time conversation from just pretend we're in the team room just bullshitting, right? I've gotten a lot of
Everybody listening at home, tune out. We're
yes.
in the team room. No,
Yeah, we're in the
yeah, go
team room,
ahead.
so don't listen. Don't look at the walls. So, um, I've gotten a lot of advice lately from booking agents, things like that, whatever, to unleash and embody the badass side of who I am, right? The fucking hoorah, Green Beret, 160th pilot, Black Hawk pilot, whatever. They're almost telling me, and this is not what I want, just to be clear, right? But they're almost telling me if you want to make it, if you want to make an impact, if you want to be big, you got to do that because people aren't going to take you seriously if you fucking don't. And my personality, sure, like I can hang with the best of us, right? I can push myself to the limit, but I'm not going to be the guy that's out there fucking bragging about, you know what I mean? Who I am and who I was. So I'm trying to find that balance without turning into, you know, a meathead d bag, if you will. Like, what are your thoughts on that in general? I'm just very curious.
So, Denny over at Security Halt, you know, thing he told me, make content that makes you happy.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you're
it's
not
good
going to be
shit.
happy with what you're making. Now, I do draw the line because I make some of the funny stuff. I don't. Other people think it's funny. I don't think a lot of my funny stuff is funny, but I don't really, my kind of sense of humor is very, 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 very dry. And I go, I think people will think this one's funny and I'll just send it. So with that one, I kind of break the rule on that, but everything else I put out, I'm like, I love this. I love what I'm putting out.
Yeah. And same,
So
same. I don't want to that's what I countered with, right? Is like if I'm going to do this for a long time, like I'm not going to be somebody I'm not. I'm not going to pretend like I'm somebody I'm not. Um but I'm getting that like okay, dude, then you're not going to succeed type of mentality. And I'm like, who the hell? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
I don't know,
So
dude.
there is there are so many ways to do the same thing with a different method, right? So
Yeah, agreed.
one, you saw the berets with the flashes that I put out, right? That is an image converted over with AI with me photoshopping the flashes in there just to give it that color pop. But
That
that
was cool.
was a drawing in my head that I used technology to get out. There's other ways to do exactly what you're doing to get the same stuff out. Just okay, this route's not working. I just have to okay, I want to get to the same spot. I have to do a different way to get there. The the screenshot at Camp McCall, that's just a screenshot. I think about that screenshot all the time. There's
Yeah, dude.
special operations guys and there's even regular army, so it doesn't matter what you are. There's something in your head that you think about all the time. Well, if you're thinking about it, some other people are thinking about it too. And I mean, they don't have a platform. They don't have, so the things that you're talking about that you want to get out there and get in the forefront. Okay, we need to find a route to get it. How can I still get the same end state and get that out there in a way? So I'm not, changing sucks, right?
Of course.
Changing the way you do anything, but you have to do it. I've said I'd rather do what makes me happy and fail than be like icky, do something
Exactly.
icky. Because
Yeah.
as soon as you, uh, and this is where it comes to special operations, we eat our own. If you step
Oh yeah.
over the line and your buddies sense it, your friends will let you know. The people that support you
Yes.
be like, "Hey, that ain't you. That's not." They'll start stepping away from you,
Yeah.
and
You would let me know. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Which
like,
is
what the fuck is
awesome.
this? Yeah, what the
Yeah,
fuck
like
is
what the
this?
hell, dude? Yeah.
So
It's not what you stand for. So no, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Even when I see other GBs and I'll watch their reel and I'll go, oh, that's good stuff. Man, that sounds like shit. They need to get a mic. I'll send them a DM. Hey, I'm not being a dick. You need a mic.
Right.
Oh, what do
It's
you got?
helpful.
I got a Rode, or you can get a DJI, but just order on Amazon right now. It'll like improve your stuff. And then I'll go back to what I was doing. I'm like, I'm not shitting on you.
Right.
So,
Iron
but
sharpens iron, right? No, it's true.
yeah,
It's
usually.
good shit.
But
Yeah.
man, okay. People telling you to do this or you're not going to be successful. Fuck you.
I know that's
Right?
bullshit. I know for a
Like,
fact it's bullshit. I just wanted to kind of get your take on it, right? Of like, cause, cause I'm trying to do something pretty significant, right? I'm trying to fucking change a huge culture that needs to be changed. So I want it to be impactful and I want to get the word out there, you know? So I want to be effective in how I spread that message. And I do know that like a portion of me being successful, right, is leading with my resume. As petty as that sounds, right? It's leading with Nick was a Green Beret, Nick was a 160th pilot. Like he's done hard shit, right? So he has shown that he is a strong human being, but he can still struggle. So that's like the core of my message. So I do need to have that piece of it, but I don't want to come across as I'm better than anybody else. You know, may have done
no,
cooler things and better things, but I'm not better as a human being.
no. And there's always, and it's a number one thing I get asked about is like imposter syndrome. Everybody's got it, and that's good. That's good that you
Yeah, it
don't
keeps you
feel that
grounded,
you
right?
feel that, because if you didn't, oh man, maybe you didn't deserve where you got to. I don't feel any pressure. Like you should feel pressure. You should feel you you worked really hard to get there. It was a hard sacrifice, but now you're with people that you used to look up to, and you're like, do I belong in this club? And you keep moving into. So when somebody says, oh, you got to change, um, or you're not going to make it. No, no. If you change, it'll be easier to make it. It's still going to be difficult. It's just going to be easier to do that because I'm and take all this with a grain of
Well, it's
salt. Like
clickbaity, right? It's clickbaity.
I'm just learning this from what I'm seeing, and this is only 8 months. Like I don't know what I'm talking about
Yeah, yeah,
at the
yeah.
end of
No,
things,
me
right?
too. Me too for the
But like
audience.
um the algorithm loves beatings and murder and
Yep, controversy.
harassment and all this other stuff. It 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 says it doesn't. It says it violates community standards, but it promotes it. It promotes that stuff.
100%.
So anything that
100%.
agitates, that's what like Project Recon with Travis we were talking about. I said, I mean, I started Googling what they do, which is FDA approved, and right in AI. Will you get shadow banned for talking about this? Yep. First word in the description is yes. And then it gives a bunch of things about community standards. But if the first answer is yes and not, well, if it's yes, like you're fighting an uphill battle, even if you're
Yep.
legal. So,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, we got to change. No, we got to change because it's easy. No, that's not gonna be as rewarding, right? Why did
exactly.
you go to selection? Why did you volunteer for all this other stuff? Because it wasn't easy,
Exactly.
difficult. You
And
know,
it's not quick either, right? It's not a quick reward. Like it takes time. It takes time building something the right way.
the
Yeah,
way you want it. The
exactly.
way you want it.
Exactly.
And and
Yep.
will you be happy with it? Will you be happy with it? Like, how long does it take to write your book?
Phew. 2.5 years almost. Yeah.
I mean, that's a long
It's been a
time.
process, man. It's
I
been a
can't even
process.
make an Instagram post for 2.5 days. Like
Yeah.
I hammer on it until I can release it. I get so like, oh, I got to get this out. I get this out now. People, sitting down to write something. Um, like when I, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
dude. It was
commitment, and we got to be happy with it when it comes out and have the right
yeah,
product and things like
and
that. And
and proud of it. Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
It was a process too. Like there's so much that goes into the book writing process that I had no idea about, man. Like I just thought you write a long word document, right? And then you got a book, and you find a publisher and they publish it for you. Like that is not even close to how it works. Like first of all, like you got to have you got to have a following if you're even going to get a publisher, or you got to have some sort of like, bona fides other than having like 300 Instagram followers, like, so it's hard to get a publisher, and then to find the right person, the right coach, and the right person to guide you in the right direction. That's also super hard because there's a lot of people out there that like claim to do the right thing and end up not doing the right thing. So it's been an expensive lesson, but I finally found the right people, and I'm so pumped that I did, and I'm so pumped that I didn't rush this thing, man, because it is now something that I'm extremely proud of. Like now it's something that I feel like has has everything it needs to be a bestseller, right? And that's not like me. I That just means like because I put in the work, right? And I found the right people to help me put in the work and make it a professional, very professional product. So it's pretty cool to see it all come together.
Good, good, and then too late, right? Because, um, my episodes, they're coming out and I'm meeting all these people, so, the episode that comes out, I believe this coming Monday or Wednesday is, Randy Searles, the Story Ninja, who is a editor, book coach, ghostwriter, for action, fantasy, sci-fi, romance, memoirs, and all that, but he's a Green Beret.
Really?
And
No
so
way.
he lives overseas. He did the a lot of the work on Scott Mann's book, and so
Oh
he reached
yeah.
out. He's like,
Okay.
so he's coming on. So it's
It's
like
awesome.
maybe too late, but then hopefully for other people. So I'm going to give him a shout out to the
Yeah.
Story Ninja on Instagram, Randy Searle, Sergeant Major Randy Searle, and but
That's
that episode
great.
will come out next week. But it's tough to find. He described
It
the
is.
process to me, and anywhere from people will come to him with a sheet of paper. Like, this is my idea to this. I've been working on this for 10 years and I've never shown it to anybody.
Right.
And then he's got to break their heart because he goes, all right, this half is garbage.
Yep.
And this
Yep.
this half is, what's really the book here, because that's all redundant. And go, and you're really shattering somebody's of life's
That's
work. Like, oh, that took me 5 years to write that half of that
yeah.
book.
That's
How
that's
did you
almost what happened to me. Is I I freaking word vomited like I think I had like right around 60,000 words. So I don't know what that translates into pages. Probably like a 230-page book, right? So it was a full book, and I was like, here we go, we're done, right? And I give it to my book coach who I'm working with now, and she read the whole thing and she was like, okay, we are starting at square one and restructuring. Like, I'm glad you have this because we're not getting rid of anything. Like, that's what she says, right? We're not deleting anything, but we're going to start from square one, restructure this into a way that it's not just people. Like, yes, a memoir is cool, right? But if you're trying to do what you're doing and actually inflict like cultural change, it can't be a memoir. It can't be just, a chronological story of your life. Like, people, sure, you did cool things. Like, it might be exciting to some people, but that's not going to reach a massive audience. So now we structured it so that it's like focused on the mission, right? The stigmas, the different stigmas, different phases. We also brought other people in to share their experiences, like law enforcement officers, things like that. My wife's going to do a chapter now from her perspective. So it evolved into from a memoir into this like thing that has huge potential. So, but yes, she basically
formula?
restructured everything.
There's a
Yeah.
formula, and
Yeah.
these editors, they've got it. Then they learned from bigger public, and then they become smaller, and they got their own shops where they can run stuff. But there's this. All right, what's the one thing? And they got the one thing. Okay, then we spider web off of that, and it's like an org chart, right? And each one's broken. It's this way. It all feeds like a championship bracket at a wrestling tournament, right? And they
Oh
all
yeah.
feed
Yeah.
down into this um, resolution. It depends on what the
Yep.
story is, but that's
Yep.
stuff from art or acting class or whatever it was in high school. We've got
Like
the
the
rising
story arc.
action, and then
Yeah.
we've got the
Yep.
crescendo, and then the falling action, and the resolution, and all that. I might
Exactly.
have messed that up for any theater majors out there or whatever, but you can hit me in the comments. But yeah, that's the whole thing. And if you don't keep
Yeah.
people's interest in the book,
Exactly.
they're gonna one star you
Yep.
on
You don't keep their
Prime.
interest, and you have to grab their interest right away, right? So like the beginning of the book is so crucial too, because you have to like grab their interest and then keep their interest and keep it engaging and keep it impactful, right? Because why would you read a book just to, you know, it's a commitment, it's a time commitment. So you're basically like saying, "Give me your time." I have something valuable to tell you. So yeah, there's a lot of like that
Well,
goes into it.
Well, let's just talk through your posts now from that, right? So now you see what you got to do with the book. That's long form, like focus.
Right,
Somebody reads.
right.
Some of these people can read a book in like an afternoon. Big book, like the bottom one there. It ain't me.
Me
But
neither, dude. It's like a month process for me.
you just said, you got to hook them, and then you got to keep them. Well, let's condense that down into 45 seconds, right?
Yeah.
My posts for the episodes that get the most engagement are the military with the number and the name and the lesser known operators. Like people want to see pictures from back in the day, or like a helicopter or something
Yeah.
in the cockpit or shit like that. And then you transition into your I went from this to this, and you don't want to tell them a short story in 30 seconds. So, you're like, how do I do this? Well, you got to combine your cool guy stuff that you did and transition to it now all in a short amount of time. So just start thinking about it the way you structured your
That's a
book, man, just into a
yeah.
compressed content.
Yeah, that's good. No, that's true. It seems so like even just thinking about it right now, like how do you do that in 30, 45 seconds a minute? But like it's done. It's done. And it's just a matter of refining it, right? That's what that's what people don't understand that makes this game so hard, right? It's not just like you have to do that one time. You have to do that every day for, you know what I mean, for potentially years if you're going to be in this game. Like it's a grind and it takes a lot of strategy and like creative thinking and yeah, if you want to put out good stuff, right? Cuz
Hey,
yeah,
the lottery at the gas station's 850 million. If I win that, we're going to have a whole different setup here in a couple days, but the odds of winning that are 350 million to 1, right?
right.
On social media, you can laugh at this or you can discount it. You have the opportunity, if you're posting content, you have the opportunity to win the lottery every day. If you're
Good way to put
because
it.
I don't know what's going to go. Some stuff went and I went, really? Okay. You know, I that one with um Sergeant Major Burke,
Yeah. Yeah.
Ranger Sergeant Major, and that's 620,000 or 520,000 views now off of
Wow.
30-second clip. But I got 1,500 followers from that one post. That's
Wow.
that's winning the lottery for a page
100%.
that had 500 followers when we recorded that episode. Like that's winning the
Absolutely,
lottery.
man. And
So you you're like, oh, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. If you don't know, if you don't think, go listen to Gary Vaynerchuk. He will talk you into believing in your content that maybe it's not the best, but he'll talk you into believing it. Go listen to Gary. He'll fire you up.
that's cool. All right. It's not that I don't believe in it. It's just I want to approach it the right way and I want to structure it so that other people believe in it. That's you know what I mean? That's more where I'm at. Is like
Yeah.
how do I create something that's consumable for other people and beneficial for other people and
I think it's
still
how do I
meets the mission.
refine something? How do I refine a
Refine.
product
Yeah, that's a good way to
into
put it.
where you
Yep.
get to? Because whether I do my TED talk or when we talk to people or in anything in special operations, we're just improving the process
Right.
um,
Right.
to deploy or to go do a JSET or go to this. We start off everybody crawl, walk, run, or whatever. Yeah, I said that
Yeah.
right. Crawl,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
walk,
Nailed it.
run. Um, and that's how it is. So we start off with this, and we refine it into where you want to be. But if you're not getting stuff out there and going, oh, I don't like that, and then there's also nothing to look back on and go, oh, look how far we've come. Because if you're
Oh
sitting
yeah.
on something,
Oh yeah.
so, but you go back to the book and your editor cuts your life in half and goes, okay, great job. We're going to take this and break it up. What was that process like from handing the manuscript over and then to where you go, okay, the first draft is ready to read?
So I had it's interesting because I would have expected that like it's almost refining it until the very end, to be honest. Like we're going through final edits right now and going through the editing process. And so can't even I'm gonna do the audiobook and I can't even do the audiobook until that's done. And the book's launching in October. So I'm like, you know what I mean? So it's very like the last portion of it, like it's like done, but it's not done, you know? It feels really good that it's out for pre-order and everything, but like there's still a lot of work to do and there's still like things I got to do to get it to the finish line. But throughout the whole process, like first of all, I'm super grateful I met the lady I'm working with now, because if I worked with somebody initially who I'm not gonna like put him on blast or anything, but let's just say it was less than ideal and I spent a lot of money on it, and I ended up firing him and finding this new lady. So I basically spent twice as much as most people do on a book. But anyways, found this new lady and she's the one that was like, we're restructuring this entire thing and I'm going to help you through it, right? I'm going to help you through the process. And she's got like literally a wall of sticky notes on her at her house with the structure and all this stuff. Like it looks like a crime scene. And that's kind of how it started, man, is just having her read my manuscript. And she's a best-selling author. So she's legit. And that was it, man. She was like, we're starting from square one. Here's what I think. And I was like, yeah, I like it. I like it. I really like it. And you'll get a kick out of this. She is like the opposite of me. Like she is a left wing, like, you know, person that very much like does not like the manly man concept, right? So like, but it's kind of cool because it balances out like my like personality so that I'm not just speaking to an echo chamber in the book, you know, which has been a cool experience to see.
Who was that? Who was that? Yeah, that was the other day talking with Randy. He goes, I think it was when they were talking about Pineapple Express, and they finally, like way late, had a woman edit it. And she goes, "Oh, this is good. Do you want to make women look bad in this?" I go, "What are you
That
talking about?"
Yep.
And they go, and she goes, "Well, you know, am I the first woman to read this? Yeah, it looks bad from a woman's perspective
Yep.
because it's all
Exactly.
it's been read. So that's good too. You get to
The
both sides of it.
Yeah, perfect example of that. There was one portion where I said like the army does a good job of turning boys into men and girls into women, and she was like, it doesn't turn girls into women, it turns them into like tomboys. And I'm like, fair enough, I guess. That's, you know what I mean, that's a good perspective, because like the traditional woman, you know, like wearing a dress, going to church, whatever, you know what I mean, like the picture of that, that's what she was getting at. Like it's a different type of growing up for a girl than it is, you know, for a civilian girl turning into a woman. I was like, huh,
Yeah, the
that's an
GI
interesting
Jane,
perspective. Right,
the
right.
GI Jane thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that movie was called GI Jane, wasn't it? With
Yeah, Demi Moore. Oh
Demi
yeah,
Moore. That's it. Yeah.
great movie.
So that's good, man. That's good that you're working through that, and then, but you still physically don't have a copy of the book.
It's coming today. The
It's
first
coming today.
copy is coming today. I will. It is a first draft, so it's not the final product. Since I said it's still going through editing, but I'm going to get to see the cover and hold it and feel it, and yeah, put my stamp of approval on it today. I'm pumped, dude. I got the email this morning from UPS saying like it's delivered today. I was like, yes, let's go. So
The anticipation
I
is
love
real.
yeah, I love how the cover turned out. Obviously having Nick Lavery like help me out right in the forward is monumental to it being
How'd that
successful.
go? I'm super
It
happy
was
that worked out for you,
Me
because
too.
when that was you said, "I've got this issue. How do I solve it?" I said, "Oh, Nick will solve it for you." And I don't know him. He doesn't know me. We're not associated. We never met or spoken. Um, and that was the first thing. Like, you sent me that message, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Nick will fix it for you." I don't know him, but I'll bet he will. And then you messaged me a little bit later. He's like, "Yeah, he did."
He did. Yeah. Yeah, it was a huge win, man. It went great, dude. He is as advertised, I will say. You know what I mean? He is one of the best representatives for where we came from that I could possibly imagine, dude. Like just super supportive. But the ironic thing is when I first reached out to him, he's like, man, like this, I love what you're doing, but I don't know if I'm the guy for this because I've never like been through any, depression or mental health issues or whatever. And I was like, dude, like that's why you're the perfect guy for this. Because if you are willing to step up and speak and support something like this, right, and put your name on it as a symbol of strength in our community, people are going to take it seriously. You know what I mean? Like people are going to, that throws a lot of weight under what I'm trying to do. So, um, yeah,
What
he
a
messaged
sales
back and,
pitch right there.
but it's
What a
true
sales.
though. But it's true, right? Because there was like I went to him because of that. Like that was the whole reason I wanted him to do it. And yeah, man, he was just like, "Let's go, Roger that." So that's really how it went, man. It was super professional. He was amazing. I'm super grateful for him.
Yeah, he's no, that's what I tell people. Yeah, he's the best right now. He's the one that we need to be shining the light on. So
100%. He's the goat. Yep.
that's too easy. That's too
Yep.
easy. Shine the light away from some other people and onto him,
100%.
and
100%.
hope and hopefully it, as I said, catches on to more people. And the influence side of things, right? He makes a lot of Green Berets. I've learned that I am starting to, with people hearing what I have to say, but there are people like the next generation of Green Berets, maybe not this one, like there are a certain percentage, but like the upcoming generation of Green Berets, depending on how command handles whatever they've got going on over there right now. But that's a different story. The next generation are all doing these workout programs, prep programs, from influencer based to getting guys through selection, through the course, and onto regiment, right?
Yeah.
And Nick's doing something that's sanctioned by SWIC, so that's even more. That's even more tied into getting the guys. It's more close to the pipeline where these guys we're leading all up to it, but that's the influence that social media has on a regiment right now. And maybe
Yeah.
not so much the Rangers, because they haven't changed one bit at all in this whole process. We have a lot with who we get and things like that, because the pipeline changes, the course changes. We don't know about the standard. It's up for debate, but things
That
change.
it was interesting when Sergeant Major came on though and said the standards are harder, than they were. So
I can believe that.
I was shocked, but I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
I can believe that because we went. It's just been getting refined because think
Right.
selection
Right.
only started in '83, I
I don't know
think.
the answer to that. Yeah.
It was on job training until one point, and then
Oh, yeah, that's right.
somebody I was talking to said they went over to fifth group and they said, "Oh, I'm here for OJT," and they went, you got to go to selection now." And I think that was in the '80s and early '80s, and so they had to go through selection. So new and getting refined, and then global war on terror happens not that long afterwards. Yeah, it's 15 years or so, but still that's pretty relatively soon in a birth of a pipeline.
Yeah.
And then everything changed all over the place. We've got to grow the force, we've got to shrink the force, we've got different standards. So I can see it just getting everybody trying to leave their mark. And yeah, oh well, I had it this way.
Yeah. And I would hope it would constantly evolve, right? And well, for the good. You know what I mean? Like cuz there's always things to improve on, right? Like, hey, we're doing this where guys are coming to a team and they're not really good at this part. Let's see if we can add this part into the pipeline. So I would hope that's happening. It should be happening. Yeah.
It should be.
Um
It should be. It is. Where the standards are getting harder and harder. Whatever, man.
I don't know. I can't. Yeah.
I don't
I'm
know
out
either.
now. I can't talk about that.
I
But
do. I was joking. I was joking to somebody on here the other day. I went, man, tell, I'll go do a selection. I'll go do it right now. Schoolhouse called, be like, Nick, you want to back up what you're saying? Yep. I'll go do it. I'll go do it. Let's do it.
hell
Let's
yeah.
see. Let's see what it's like. Because to a certain extent, unless you can say yes to that, you're not living the life. Like, yeah, I could go do it.
Yeah. Barring
Would
injuries, right? Barring
barring
injuries and things
injuries or
like that. But
anything,
yeah.
yeah, I could go do it. Now, the one I really like, I'm afraid of that if they called me on it, they're like, "All right, we want somebody to go to dive school." I'd be like, "Yep, I'll go," but
That's gonna
I'm
suck.
yeah, you know,
Do you
I'm
still
terrified.
run? Do you still run as much as you used to? 'Cause that's been the
So
biggest thing that slipped with me, right? Is just
pools
I
3
I
days
can't
a
run
week.
12-minute 2 milers.
Oh, I could run a. I should go test my mile. I
I
mean,
could probably run a 15-minute 2 miler right now. Maybe a
um,
14:30, maybe.
I can get on this treadmill and run a 5 minute mile, but
Oh, that's
that's on the
legit. Okay.
treadmill. So I don't
Yeah.
know where I fall out, but yeah, I think about selection and I go, man, if could we do it? All right, well, let's do some content about some PT tests and stuff like that first
Yeah.
before we get plugged
Oh,
in over there. But
yeah. I
I don't.
like
My
it.
feet couldn't do it. I could. I think I could.
Dude,
I think I could hang, but maybe I couldn't. Maybe I couldn't.
my
I don't
feet,
know.
and I think my I don't know how my back would hold up, man, because this is a funny, stupid, funny story. Like from being a pilot, like your back's just always compressing, right, from the vibrations and stuff. But I never really had any like serious problems other than minor back pain. But I went on a cruise to Alaska this summer, and like day two of the cruise, I don't even know what I did. I think I just slept wrong, and I was like, my back was like thrown out, dude. Like I had to use my arms to push myself up. Like it was miserable, man. And I was on the cruise ship for like 4 days. I had to go when we ported one day, I had to go to Walmart in like Ketchikan, Alaska and grab a back brace and all this ibuprofen and Tiger Balm and all this shit. And I'm like, come on, man. I'm not even that old yet. But that would be my biggest worry is like my back just giving out and me just being floored. So I don't know if I could physically push through that, you know?
I with a rest up, we see where we go.
Yeah.
I just keep going heavier on my lifts and more
Nice.
range of motion. I keep feeling better. Um,
Awesome.
I think that's more helpful now because there's a lot less room for error at the weights and then the way I'm training. But there's no substitute for being 22 years old at selection. There's no
Of course,
substitute for
man.
that. I,
Just how
you know,
fast you recover is so much different. That's
but
probably the biggest thing.
But then I think of the
Yeah.
flip side of it. I went through selection with a guy that was 44. I'm like,
Good point.
and he made it. Him and his
Good
son.
point.
His son was 22 and he was 44, and they went through one roster number apart. I'm
No
like,
shit.
oh. So that in my head is when people ask me questions about the pipeline or stuff, I go, "There's a dude that was 44. Like, shut up. Like,
Yeah.
like just go do that.
It's doable. Yeah.
It's doable because he wasn't a big guy. I mean, he wasn't tall. They were both short, like 5'6", 5'7", not big dudes at all, and they crushed it. So
That's awesome.
whatever,
Hell
go
yeah.
do it.
Yeah,
Go do
that's
it. Go
awesome.
write a book. Go get yours because it's going to be over one day, and you're just going to be
Exactly.
talking about how cool you used to be. It'd be
Yeah.
good to have some stories. You don't want to end up like me having to live vicariously. No, I'm having
Dude,
fun. I mean,
no, I get it. Take pictures too. Dude, I was looking at like my, pictures from when I was in and I'm like, man, like I did not take many pictures, like I know that's not like priority when you're doing shit, right? When you're on the range and stuff like that. But at the same time, like I wish I did, I wish I took more. I wish I had some more badass pictures of myself just because it's cool. It's cool to look back on, but we don't think about that. Yeah.
no, we definitely don't. You definitely don't. At all. And you're like, oh, it was so frowned upon.
Oh yeah.
And especially when social media first came out, the big push was, oh, you can't have a social media. And then somebody woke up and went, it's pretty suspicious to not have a social media,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly.
And they
Yeah.
went, okay, everybody go get a social media, but keep it really bland.
Yeah.
But they didn't
Don't put
define
your
the
real name
word
on.
bland. And so people just started posting everything they were doing in group on there, and then not having stuff and going, whoa, we can't have this up there. This is out of bounds. Well, there's no regulation. And now we evolve to where we are now, where you go
Yeah.
with, as you said earlier, some people are doing content a certain way. That's a very ambiguous. What can I say? What can I not? Yes, there's a regulation, but you can look at it this way and it says one thing. You can look at it another. It says another thing. And
Yep.
am I still in uniform? Am I civilian? Am I retired? Am I beholden still to the UCMJ? Well, kinda,
Yeah.
but mostly to the people that support me. I'm beholden to them, right? They'll let me know.
Yep.
They're the barometer of am
Right.
I
That's a
doing the
good
right
point.
thing?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's a fine line. It's a
But the
fine
pictures,
line
man,
for sure.
I think it'll go away. The pictures thing, I think it'll go away because everybody now that is in, for the most part, I would say probably the majority of the force is come in the last 10 years, and they have all had phones their whole lives.
Right, right. So my brother is he's med boarding right now at his Sephardic. So he just did his final out and everything. But he didn't have any like social media or pictures or anything. Same thing. Like I reached out to him and I was like, dude, give me some pictures from give me some pictures that I can like, use for my website. That's not like you in it, right? But just like a combat picture, you know. And he's like, "Bro, I got nothing, man. Like, it's pretty dry over here too." So he's at that point right now. I don't know if it's like a age thing. Maybe he came in like 2014 or 2015 or something like that. 2014, I think. But I don't know. Maybe the younger soldiers are embracing it more, but he still didn't have any.
Well, we'll see. It is the number one complaint. Is I didn't take any pictures either. Well, you
Yeah,
didn't stop to appreciate what you were doing, so you didn't think it was special because you're like, oh, it's just on the way to the next thing. Because you're in the thing. You're not looking at it
exactly.
from
You're
back. You're in the
surrounded by the
thing, and
thing.
you're surrounded
Yep.
by it. When you get to group, you're surrounded by Green Berets. You're not special anymore. You're not special.
Right.
That's what I point out one thing to guys in North Carolina. I'm in Wisconsin. uh, Fort Bragg is the center of the universe. I'm very far from the center of the universe. It's a
Yeah.
treat for me to go to North Carolina because I get to hang out with GBs. They're all over the
Yep.
place. Like, oh,
Yep.
hey, I know you. Oh, you want to hang out and all this and tell stories.
We got like a team room meet up in Charlotte. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's, like, you can't throw a rock in North Carolina and not hit four GBs.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
and it's tough to tell people about that when you're out here and isolated. Like I got a couple guys I think Kyle's gonna move up here from
Nice.
Florida.
That's
I
cool.
was like, are you sure? We have winter up here. He's like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
right.
it's good. Okay,
That's a
so
big change
but
from Florida.
yeah, well, I'm working at the dive locker to coming up here. It's like we have winter. It does suck up here. So, but well, whatever. It'd be nice to have somebody in the area. But it's all right. But so what was your main source of inspiration for writing? Because you said you looked for some pictures for your website and things like that. But
But yeah.
you got to
So I don't
try
think
and
I
transport yourself back to like, okay, because you sit down
yeah.
and now you're creating content. You sit down and you're like, okay, I got to make something. Okay, what the fuck does that mean? I scroll
Right.
for a while until I see something and I'm like, okay, let's do this. But how did you just sit down and then start to write, or did you have something? Did you have a plan, or did you just kind of make it up like everything else in life?
No, there was like a pretty pivotal moment. I don't think I told this last time, so it's perfect that you asked that. But so I just mentioned my brother, right? He's a Green Beret too. I can say that now because he's final outed. So now now he's in the clear. But so when I got was getting medically retired for panic disorder, all this shit, right? I finally started telling people what happened, what my, that I was suicidal for 5 years and shit like that. Finally started telling people that, and my brother was one of the first people I told, and it was in person. And I told him, I was like, Tim, um, like I got to tell you something pretty serious, man. Like this is why I'm actually getting medically retired, right? And I was having these whatever. I was depressed and suicidal for this long, and like frankly, I'm lucky I'm here, And he started like I could tell he was getting choked up, and he started crying, and like if anybody knows him, he's not a crier. Like he's a hard kid, and he basically looked at me and was like, "Why the hell didn't you tell me?" Like kind of like pissed, kind of like, "What the fuck, Nick?" Like, if I'm your brother and you didn't feel like you could tell me. And that's the moment that I was like, shit, dude, like those stigmas are fucking powerful, dude. Like, I didn't even feel comfortable enough telling my own brother, who I'm closer with than anybody in the world. And that's what I said. I was like, I didn't feel like I could, man. Like, I felt like the stakes were too high if I told anybody what I was going through. And I didn't want you to feel like you had to call somebody, right? And all the reasons, right? All the excuses. And he looked at me and was like, that's fucked up and that needs to change. And that was like the nexus of me being like, fuck, he's right. Like there is a serious problem in our culture that we don't feel like we're okay talking about that stuff. So that was kind of the nexus of it. That was not kind of, that was the nexus of it. And then I started writing, man. I had the idea for Stigma. Like that conversation sparked the reason that I was stuck in that trap for so long. I don't think I had really recognized it until then, that the stigmas were the things that kept me in isolation and in silence and yeah, just hiding my shit.
How hard was it to capture what you just said into words on a page and keep it at the forefront of your mind? Because if that's
Yeah.
the inspiration every day, how are you able to keep that right in front of you all the time?
That's a good question because during the writing process, there were times where I was flowing, right? Like it was pretty easy and things were coming out well and I could just sit down and write for 3 hours and not stop, right? And have coherent thoughts throughout. And then there were times where there were days or even weeks, I think, at one point where I didn't write a word and I was like almost I didn't want to go back and start writing because I felt like I was I don't even know. I just didn't have the words to say. Like you said, like how do you put that into words, right? And how do I tell this part of the story where it's not just me going through medical diagnosis or medical appointment after medical appointment, right? How do I tell this part of the story so that it's still relevant, still applicable to the audience, and like, frankly, doesn't bore the shit out of me while I'm writing it, because it's easy to get down that road and just write stuff just to write stuff, and I didn't want to do that during the writing process. So there were definitely times where I got really discouraged because I felt like I was on a roll and then it just stopped and I didn't feel like I was going to get that back. So it wasn't easy. Sometimes it was easy. Sometimes it was not easy at all. And it took a lot to get back into it.
How long did it take your brother to get over that and go, okay, well, now we got to fix this? Like, and because I mean, that's got to hurt, but then you got to go, oh, this is serious. You know, we got to
Yeah.
get to work here.
So he, I would say like after that night, we hashed it out. Um, we were drinking, so that made it more emotional, right? But Um, we hashed it out that night, man. We had some really, really deep conversations. And to his credit, man, one thing that I give him massive props for is like he had a period where he was dealing with something and not to like put his shit out there too much, but he called me and he told me right away. He told me right away and said, "Hey dude, like this fucking happened to me today, right? And I didn't like it and I didn't know what to do. So I called you." And I was like, thank God. You know what I mean? Like, thank God he learned from what I did. Um, so it definitely hit home for him. He definitely like he realizes the gravity of it and he realizes why it's important. Um, not just for me, but for you know, SF dudes, soft dudes, CEOs, everybody. You know what I mean? Like we're playing with fire.
We are, and we don't take it seriously. We do take it seriously, and then we don't take
We
it seriously because we discount
here's
everything. We're
yeah,
just like,
yeah.
ah, it's okay.
Here's the thing I've noticed, and this is me obviously being at the forefront of this, right? So I'm thinking about it a lot. But I've noticed that people are talking about mental health more, which is awesome, right? Like the Sean Ryan show has hundreds, I don't know how many episodes he has, but whatever. Multiple examples of, you know, tier one guys who hit rock bottom, went through freaking had a gun to their face, right? And like we're at that critical decision moment. But the problem that I still see, and this might just because, people on active duty can't necessarily go on podcasts, but people are willing to talk about it after they've conquered it, right? They're not willing to talk about it while they're going through it because they still feel all those freaking stigmas. They still have all those reasons that they can't or they don't feel like they can. So, yes, it's awesome that people are talking about it, but I don't think that's fixing the fact that people still aren't talking about it while they're going through it. Does that make sense? And I still think we're losing too many at critical points because some don't make it through it.
It's a
And
new
that's
one.
just my theory, right? So you can, yeah, pick that apart. But that's what I have been noticing lately as I've become more introspective on this stuff.
All right, this one's completely made up by me, but it's the 22 push-ups. 22 push-ups paradox. All right. Does 22 push-ups a day do anything to save anybody? No, but it does because it will either anger people into hating it and saying, I can do something better than that. And then they go out and actually do something. And it spreads this that it's going around. Like, so it doesn't do anything. It's like the Schrodinger's cat, right? It's
Yeah,
both
yeah,
alive
yeah.
and dead at the same time.
Yep.
22 push-ups a day does nothing and something all at the same time, but might not be the same nothing and something that you're thinking about. That's kind of like a paradox. If you want to correct me on this, I'm still developing this one because I brought this up a couple times on the show. But yes, more people are talking about it. Okay. Are we talking about it effectively? Are we talking about solutions? Or are we talking about problems? All right, that's one thing. If you want to sit and talk about your problems, that's fine too. That might help you. All right, what's our end state here? Do we want to talk about solutions? How do we get to those solutions? Where we got, you know, mental, physical, spiritual. Okay, so which one should we work on first? Probably let's see a doctor. Are my hormones out of check?
Yes.
Am I still suffering from a TBI? Do I have a brain injury that I've been dealing with
Exactly.
for years and
Yes.
years and years? We get to some of those root causes. It might fix the other ones, right? Those
Yep.
might not even be real things.
Yep.
I'm not saying they aren't. They might
No, I
not
know
be
what you mean.
real if you fix
Yeah.
those. So there's this. Okay, what are we talking about to get to? Where does the yellow brick road go? So now you can't start or you can't finish without starting. So
Exactly.
are we still in the beginnings? Are we the only civilization in the universe that has made it this far evolution wise? That we're the only ones? We could be, probably not. It could be at a very old place, but it's possible, right? We could be at this only point in time on earth. We could be this as far as we've gotten with mental health to where we're the point where I can sit in my basement with my camera and talk to you and talk about these things. And that's as far as our circle of influence or friends or people that follow us has gone, right? And if that's the first step, maybe, okay, what's the next one? So go back to your thing, like, right? So it does talking about it. What was I kind of lost the point there. It was right
No,
there.
that people are okay talking about it after they get through it, not while they're going through it or not when it happens, right? Because they
But
conquered something.
nobody wants to talk about it. Like, oh God, nobody's an alcoholic until they stop and they go, oof, man, I was
Exactly.
drinking a lot. Because
Exactly.
it's just fine. Nobody's
Right.
having a mental breakdown, when they're in it, because they're in the acute phases. Um,
But that's the most dangerous phases, you know what I mean? Like, those
We
are
go
the
back to right to
crisis
the
phases.
beginning. We go right back
Yeah,
to the beginning of the
exactly.
episode. You're the most
Yep,
dangerous. You can do the most damage. You can ruin your life the most
yep,
in those times.
yep.
And so, I mean, kind of went a roundabout way there. Um, to a lot, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, but like just like with this episode, right? I mean, we're at minute 80 ish. So now we're getting into this philosophical conversation about mental health and suicide. I don't know if we hung on to the people that long, they're probably going to hang on a little bit longer, right? So
Right. Amen.
if you can have a normal conversation like a normal fucking person and empathize with somebody and understand where they're coming from, they're more likely to open up to you. But I get it. People are scared because it's the one subject that only exists in your head until you tell somebody.
Dude, that's a good way to put it. That's a really good way to put it, because it's not something tangible, right? It's not like you freaking tore your knee or you broke your ankle. It's in your head until you have to be the one that exposes it. That's a really freaking good way to put it, man. I haven't heard it put that way, but that is so true.
That's that's scary, right?
Yeah, it is.
Because you go, it, it's nothing. It's nothing, and you can lie to yourself. You can say that's I'm fine. I'm
Right,
fine because in here it's just your voice in your head, and if that voice has a TBI or is not getting enough testosterone or not hydrated enough or not getting
right.
exercise or
Or not enough
sad,
sleep.
oh,
It's a
you just
million things, man.
you can just make shit up. You can
Yeah.
just make shit up and say, "Oh, we're fine. We're fine.
Yep.
We're fine." And
Yeah.
then you go to the fear of admitting, "Maybe I'm not fine." Okay, but I'm the only one that knows that.
Right.
And because
And
you're
I
also in denial that other people know,
yeah.
they can see it. But until you
Yep.
say something, it's not real. As you
It's not
said,
real. It's not
your
real to
knee's not
others.
broken.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you got an open fracture and your bone sticking out of your leg, that's pretty real. Everybody can
Yeah.
see that. We get the textbook out. Yep, looks just like it. But
Exactly.
there's nothing holding up into your head until Elon's got us all plugged into Neuralinks.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that. I don't think that's going to be as popular as people think. Not right now, but in 100 years, maybe we'll
Yeah,
see.
maybe in 100 years, I'm not gonna touch it. Just there's not enough trust right now in something like that. But yeah, man, that's a good way to that's such a good way to put it, dude. It's something that nobody sees, and you have to be the one that puts it out there, right? Like, you have to. And here's an interesting take, because the word vulnerability gets thrown around a lot, right? You have one side of the fence that thinks vulnerability is like literally weakness, right? And I've heard people say this modern day, so it's not like a fallacy. But then you have the other side of the fence where, which is what I lie in, right? Is vulnerability the word in itself? And I'm not, we're getting real deep here, but the word in itself means like exposure to danger, right? So when you're vulnerable, you are exposed to danger. Like, a bear walks up on your camp, right? You're vulnerable, right? You're in a firefight. You are vulnerable. You're taking mortars. You are vulnerable. Like, it's nothing. So vulnerability being weakness, it can't be, because it's not something that you do. It's a situation that you're in, right? So being vulnerable is not really a choice. What I view it as, and where I take it to the next step, is vulnerability is an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity to fight back, or to hide, right? And cower. And that's where I say, because I say this a lot, like, vulnerability is a superpower that I unlocked once I finally got the balls to talk about my mental health, you know? And it's true, because before then, I was the one hiding and cowering, even though I was in a vulnerable situation, right? I was not approaching it with strength and saying, no, F this, I'm going to do something about this. I was saying, I was listening to all the other voices telling me that I shouldn't do something about this, and I can't do anything about this other than, like, try to fix it myself. But you get what I'm getting at. Um, yeah, it's just, literally heard people say vulnerability is weakness. So I hopefully I phrase that in a way that it gets the message across that it is not at all weakness. It's an opportunity.
You're just open. You can use a thesaurus, right, to
Right.
frame it a
Right.
different way. Openness, accepting of new ideas or treatments, Western medicine,
Yeah.
Eastern medicine, all kinds of stuff like, meditation supposedly is real to I know if you believe something's real, if you believe that it'll help you, it might help you more than if you don't believe it'll help you and things
Yeah.
like that.
Well, that's definitely
Um,
true, man. It didn't do
I
anything for me, but I was so deep in the storm that it didn't matter, you know? Something like I needed like triage.
yeah, they get so deep. That sucks. No, and, we said about making it real. Like, just that feeling of being in it when everything's fine and all of a sudden something just drags you to hell for no reason, and you don't know why, and you don't know what's going on, and you just feel like shit.
Yeah.
And then that keeps happening, and then that makes you more, like, sad that you're being sad, or maybe you're just not you just feel, like, dead inside, and you feel bad about that, and just all these compounding things, and it just gets worse and worse and worse, and
Yeah.
it feels like there's no way out, and, like, how do I get myself out of this? And insurmountable obstacles. So when you're in it, it's just so terrible,
It
like,
is.
I can't see the other side, and then you start pulling yourself out, and you go, "Oh, how did I ever live like that?" Well, you didn't live like that. I mean, try and remember anything you did during that time. You're gonna be like,
Bro,
"Oh, I don't really remember what I
fucking
did
blur.
then."
Yep. Yep. Fucking blur. That was the one of the hardest parts about writing this book, man. I literally had to go through like medical records, my ORB, SRB, my awards, my DD-214, everything. I had to go through everything to basically like forensically put my life back together of what happened because I was essentially like a very highly capable zombie, you know what I mean? Like very good at just fucking putting my head down and getting it done, but bro, I was a shell of myself, you know, like emotionally during that time because of that, because of everything you just said. And to add on that too, one thing that like that I didn't realize I was doing while I was in it until I got, you know, everything's hindsight's 2020, right? But dude, I was so fucking like mean to myself, you know? Like I was so pissed at myself that I was in that depressed mood, right? Like I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You got the perfect life, man. Like there's no excuse for you feeling this way. You know what I mean? And I was just that like made it so much worse. Um because dude, I gave myself zero grace, like literally zero, you know, and that was one of the hardest things that I had to overcome just because I was so used to just, you know, shitting on myself and treating myself like shit because of it, you know.
Did you find yourself being hard on yourself all over again when putting your timeline back together and writing the book?
Honestly, no. Honestly, no. I don't know. I'm very blessed and fortunate that like now I'm able to almost look at it like from an outside perspective in a weird way. You know, almost like detached from it, but not enough not detached from it from the point to the point that like it didn't happen, but detached from it to the point of like regretting it, you know? Like I don't really yeah, it sucked and I'm very grateful that I made it through and I don't want it to happen to anybody else. But at the same time, like at least in my life and the way that I'm using it now, like it's turned into a blessing, if that makes any sense at all. But it's really weird saying that, right? Because nobody wants to deal with that, especially for that long. But I'm able to overcome it and turn it into something good. So no, I'm not hard on myself because of that anymore. Now I just want to use what happened to me to make other people's lives better, dude, and learn from it, right? Learn from what my experience is and try to avoid it for others. That's so that helps.
The we see okay. We see the finished product of everybody that has something terrible happen to them because of them, uh, at the end as they, this dip and then back and then kinda standing out going, "This happened to me, but it didn't break me," right? Whereas some people hit that dip and then they're gone.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
and it doesn't come back from them. And, you said in the beginning with that, I'm the pilot in charge, and we've got an engine out. I gotta figure this shit out. And you can look at that you can look at that the same way, like, "Oh, man, I'm glad that happened to me when I wasn't getting shot at."
Right.
So I was
Right.
able to learn from it and learn a valuable lesson that probably saved my life other places down the road. You look back at terrible things that happened in your life. You went through this period, and it was such a drastic uh, change in your life, a point in the timeline of your life that you go, I'm never going to let that happen ever again. But let's say, what if it was half as bad, right? What if it was
Yeah.
only half as bad? How much more devastating would half as bad been over the course of your life than if it was as bad and you suffered as much as you did in that time? Because, man, you might have been able to deal with half as bad, right? You might
It
have,
would have been a I yeah, to be honest, I think that probably would have I'd probably still be in the army. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
and just
because I think
and
yeah,
just
like I just
dealing
would have
with it, and then it eats you alive, and then
right,
you get,
but I wouldn't have gotten to
um,
the desperation point, I guess. Yeah.
you'll stay at a slightly shitty job your entire life,
Yep.
but you won't stay at an awfully shitty job for more than a year.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to
So
put it.
you look at and say it was a blessing, like, and even you can go with Nick, who wrote the forward of your book, right?
Yeah.
Losing your legs gotta suck. That's gotta
Yeah, dude.
suck. But he's turned that into this amazing thing. What you have your brand, inspiration, influence, um, business to
Yeah.
raise money for people and that might not have all been I'm not speaking for him, but that might not have all been possible. It would have or I'm to say it would have looked completely different if that
Yeah,
horrible
of
thing
course.
wouldn't have
Of
happened
course.
to him,
Yeah.
Who how much how much of who you are now is because of what happened to you then and saying, "I don't want to be that. I'm gonna do everything actually to help other people not be that." Like, do you think you think you still, because 'cause you'd get out. If it was half as bad and you didn't have that, you'd get out and you wouldn't have that
I wouldn't have that drive. I
you
wouldn't
wouldn't
have
have
that.
that
Yeah,
captured experience sitting with your brother and then, like,
exactly.
this, "I have to fix this for other people." Sometimes those bad things that happen to us aren't like that. They are
But
bad.
they happen
I'm
for a
I'm
reason,
gonna say that.
right? Yeah.
Sometimes we are that reason, a lot of the
No, and I was, to be fair.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I was. I wasn't taking care of myself. But but yeah, like resilience, right? What's the definition? Like bouncing back, using it for good, you know? So I think there's power in the struggle if you can use it for greater good, you know? And I'm very grateful that I made it through all that, obviously. Like, you know, could have looked very different multiple times throughout my journey. And, you know, grace of God, whatever you want to call it, I'm here and I'm able to use that for good. So yeah, dude, and there's so many examples of that, right? Like you said, Nick, like look at whatever, almost any military influencer out there or whatever has had setbacks, has had things that, you know, give them like show that they can push through pain and they can suck, right? But then they can also deal with adversity and be resilient and come back. Like, look at Taylor Kavanaugh, like getting kicked off the Seals, losing his trident, and now freaking is crushing it. He owns it and he uses that as fuel to make himself a better person. Like who, if you lost your Green Beret, would you go try out for another special operations unit in another country? Like,
Maybe.
there's no way in hell. I wouldn't. I wouldn't even that wouldn't even be a thought that crosses my mind, man. I don't know, but just even that, So
I,
there's so many examples of it. And maybe you would have, right? Maybe there's a lot of people that would have, but that wouldn't have even been a thought in my mind. I would have been like,
I
I'm gonna
mean,
go
when
get
when I had him on and did the interview the episode with him, I was like, could I do that? Maybe I could do that now. Should I do that? No,
yeah.
no,
That's
that's a
funny. That's
that's a
hilarious.
terrible idea. Um,
Fast forward a year, you're in the French Foreign Legion.
living, yeah, just all, but um, now that's a different time and a different situation. But no, but I know what you mean. You gotta you gotta take the experiences and now you gotta package it up in a way that people want to hear about it and you'll do good and and that is, I know that is what you're trying to do. You want to do
Yeah,
good
100%.
because you go, oh man, I don't want anybody else to feel like this. But I do think, there is some, it's like we're protecting against the edge, right? The edge of the cliff of, okay, we got to hold this line. And that's stressful too. Because people are still going to get through. When I talked to earlier this week, we recorded an episode, and him and I both, there's no stopping uh, veteran suicide from happening. There's no stopping it. Uh, you can slow it down. You can get some
Yeah,
guys to
right,
rethink their decision, but you're not gonna.
right.
We're not stopping that. Uh,
I agree. I agree,
Coming out of
man.
the
There's
global
gonna
war on terror,
yeah,
especially like we can't. Where the Vietnam are still a high rate coming from Vietnam, and we're not even out of the global war on terror 3 years. Now we're 25 years on in the whole process, but that's a whole different thing. So, yeah, we're not stopping it, but you
no,
hold the
man.
line. And you can only be as much of a shield as you can be without pulling yourself back over the line onto the
Right.
other side. Are you aware that you're like, I have to maintain who I am and not let people who've or yeah, because it kind of sucks, right?
Yeah,
To say that it's
yeah.
like people drag
I
me
know what you mean.
back
No, I know
into
what
the
you mean.
cauldron.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, I've already have people, like, kind of, tell their life story and stuff to me on whatever, YouTube, stuff like that, like, in the comment section, And it's a fine line, I think, right? Because, like, yes, I am out there and I want to, like, give people the tools and tell people what I did and what helped me and how I got through it and how I would if I had to do it all over again, whatever. But at the same time, like, I'm not a psychologist, right? So I'm going to put my shit out there and tell you what worked for me, but I'm not going to give people therapy, if that makes sense, right? I'll support people and I'm always, going to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I'm here for you," but I'm not going to be telling people, you know what I mean? Like, here's what you need to do. Like, that is not my role. I don't see myself filling that role, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So
there's a lot of
I think that
schooling
is
in
a
front
fine
of
line,
you.
though. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's a fine line for sure.
yeah. And sometimes people just need somebody to listen to, or they just want somebody to listen to them, and that's fine.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Exactly. Meet them where they are, man. That's the best advice I can give, right? Meet them where they are. Don't condemn them. Don't give them solutions, right? Like, just talk to them. Like you said, that's it's the most low threat way to talk to somebody like that because they
yeah,
don't want to hear all the ways that here's what, like, if I was back in that position and somebody had told me, like, "Hey, you just need to work on your sleep. You need to stop drinking. You need to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G," right? All that would have told me, all the way that I would have taken that is sweet. So now I'm failing in this area, this area, this area, this area, this area, right? when I already am, like I said, I was already so fucking mean to myself, right? And hard on myself. So it wouldn't have helped if somebody had come and said, "Hey," like I would have probably been like, "No shit, dude." Like I'm not fucking stupid. You know what I mean? And I would have taken it as an insult instead of, even if which they probably would have been well intended. I wouldn't have taken it that way. So that's why I say, like, I really think, like you said, like just listening, right? And meeting them where they are and not condemning, not trying to fix it. Like the only thing that you could potentially fix, right, is getting them to talk, in my opinion, is making them feel comfortable that they can talk about it. Cause that does help, you know, letting it out does help.
Yeah. And another thing to be aware of is they've been listening to you, and that's a completely one-sided thing. So they've been listening to you, and now this person comes up and starts telling you stuff. You got to go, all right, okay, yeah, I've been talking to them. They're talking back to me, and this sort of thing. And just be aware of that, because that's a weird thing to
Yeah,
realize
it
as
is.
well, because they've seen something or heard something in what you say or do that they empathize with, or
Yeah.
a
Resonate with, right?
similarity.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the space we're saying a lot of the same things and doing a lot of the same things. I mean, special operations guys, some of the stories all blend together. Some guys tell really good stories, but the majority of the guys just, everything's kind of in the middle, right?
Yep. 100%.
So they're so when somebody's reaching out, they're reaching out to you. They like something about you, hopefully in a
Exactly.
good way. And
It's the
and
goal. Yep.
everything's, yeah, but they like something about you, and that's, I think that's, I'm always honored if somebody wants to hear what I have to say, and learn something from what I've done and the mistakes I've made. But also there is a point, like, especially with, you said, the selection questions or prep or stuff like that, or things. Some of these mistakes you got to make. You know, some of these and I talked about like the hard line of holding the fail safe, right? Some
Yeah.
ups and downs and things with life. You can't protect everybody from everything. Some mistakes you have to make. You have to go learn these things the hard way. And
Yep.
that sucks too.
It does.
Hey,
There's
or
value in that too, though, right? Like
mhm,
there's growth in every failure. Just as long as it's not a catastrophic failure,
yeah,
you can
and that's what
recover.
we try and guard against. And but it's tough. It's tough, especially when it doesn't work and something happens, and you go, "Man, did I do everything I could?" And start being hard on yourself. You're like, "Did I do everything I could? I don't know. I don't know." Well, you can't think like that. You gotta that problem's over. You gotta go on to the next one and improve, refine how you are and how you deal with these situations and things like that. And then one day you got a book and you're getting ready to release it, and man, that's that's fucking awesome, man. I'm proud of you.
Thanks,
Even
dude.
just over the
Thanks.
last 8 months or 7 months, just to get to where we are now. It's crazy,
I
huh? The
know.
difference.
It's pretty cool that we both kind of started at the same time on this journey, And yeah, it's exciting, to be honest. It's exciting to see where it takes me. I have no idea where it's going to take me, you know. And I don't know if you feel the same way about your platform and podcasts, like you're just kind of, let's go, let's see what happens. But that's where I'm at, man. I'm going to give it my all and, just pray that I'm blessed and that by doing the right thing, like we talked about at the beginning, right? By staying true to myself, that everything else falls in place and everything happens. So
Yeah. Whatever, something's going to happen, and it's not going to be what you think. Um,
exactly.
that's just
It
how
never
it's going to
is.
go.
It never is,
Uh,
dude.
I
I wouldn't
never
have
thought
thought
I
I'd
would
be
do the
talking
things.
on
Yeah.
podcasts. You know? Did you ever
Yeah.
think
You're
you'd be a
going on a bunch of
podcaster?
them.
I know. Did you ever think you'd be one though? Like when you were
With an
serving, right?
idea.
Back, like
It
Okay.
was an idea. It was like a one-line idea. Like, I'd really like
Okay.
to sit down and interview these guys, and then
Yeah.
it was gone, and it came back in, like, December, January, and now here we are. I mean,
Pretty awesome.
75 comes out tomorrow, I think. Yeah,
Heck
75.
yeah.
So, but
That's awesome,
no, I
man.
know.
Dude, I'll commend you, man. It takes balls to do something like that, you know? Especially as a soft guy. Like, I'll just say it, you know? It doesn't like there it's almost like a in a weird way, it's almost like a risk, right? Because the quiet professional community, right? There's that stigma, if you will, not to overuse the word, but there's that stigma of like you can't you can't talk about your shit, you know, if you were a Green Beret. Like, you got to stay in the shadows, at least publicly, right? And if you go in the public light, you know, are you exploiting your service to make money, right? I remember when I was active, like there was always that conversation, but I think it's bullshit, dude. I think, like, don't get me wrong, there's people that do that, but that's not that's not your intent. So that's why I just want to give you mad props for like having the balls to step out and do it, you know? I think it's
There's
honorable.
guys that are there's guys that are doing the right thing the right way for the right reasons. And if I can, guys and gals, tomorrow's
Yeah,
episode is a gal. So
awesome.
tomorrow, if I can help them tell their stories, which is so much easier telling other people, bragging on other people, and telling other people's
Of
stories,
course it is. It
um,
always is.
than mine. I go on other people's shows and I go, all right, Nick, all right, it's game time. I got to psych myself up here. Okay, you got to sound interesting, sit up straight. You're not the host.
Yeah,
Don't ask questions. Don't be like a rhetorical. You go, okay, okay.
for sure.
We got to tell them. People want to hear the little details and things like
Yeah.
that. And I mean, that's had to have been difficult for you too, to write it down and go, I sound like a dork.
I know. I know, man. And the cool thing about this journey, even in the 8 months that we've been doing this, right? And I've been doing this, like the progression that I'm seeing, man, every time I go on a podcast, it's getting better. You know what I mean? It's getting better. There's something better every single time that I'm getting from it. And I'm learning about myself, right? And I'm refining how I'm coming across and all this stuff. So it's a process, but it's cool. It's cool to see the progression, you know? Because I'm not gonna lie, man. If I when I go back, I watched that. I went on the Team House podcast and I went back and I watched it. I couldn't stand it. Like, the whole time I was just critiquing myself. I was like, "Why the hell did you laugh so loud in the microphone?" You know, "Why the hell did" you know what I mean? It was just nonstop. I just could not handle watching myself on it. So, but at the same time, like, I learned a lot from it, right? From watching it. I learned a lot from, and I wouldn't call it a failure. It's not like I, boloed and fell on my sword or anything. Like, there were just nitpicky things that I didn't like, and you refine it, and you learn from it. And now I literally have a blueprint that I can watch and say, okay, I don't want to talk about this that way. I don't want to wear light gray pants so it looks like I'm wearing tights. You know what I mean? So it's a progression, man. You learn, you live and learn. But yeah, I got some huge ones coming up, and I'm pumped to see what comes of those
That's awesome, man. That's
things.
awesome. I mean, and from starting this, I've said to guys, man, you can come on here and get 2, 3 hours of practice and talk about
Exactly.
whatever,
It's
and
great.
you can work out a thought. Joe Rogan, he says, there's nothing wrong with going up on stage with notes when you're trying to learn a bit. It's when you got it dialed in, you get rid of the notes.
Yeah.
I,
And and
I've got
and that's why I have no shame in asking you, right, on this public platform that's going to go out to people, like, here's what I'm getting pressured to do and here's what I want to do, right? Like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, I want people to know that stuff because it's important, and it may, even by me saying that, it might spark somebody else to be like, oh shit, yeah, like I was kind of dealing with the same thing, right, or something like that. So yeah, I think it's awesome that you just have this open-ended platform where there's no agenda necessarily.
you're going to change regardless.
Yeah. Right. To some
People
extent. Yeah.
for the left and right limits of who they are, but
Right.
you're going to change. My voice is changing, like the way I speak and it's changing.
It's
I've
awesome.
noticed. I still went back and listened. I'm like, man, I sound different, and that happens too. You're going to evolve what you want to put out, the way you put it out, the way you say it, your cadence and everything is going to change regardless. Doing what somebody else wants you to do to change for that that's a different style. It's not you. Now you got to start over. Oh man, you
Right.
got to start over. That's not, oh, you might get to a closer version of that organically and bring all of your audience with you to
Yes.
where it's an authentic content anyway, but you try and jump over there and to what somebody else wants for you and disaster. So now I say that it's very easy for me to say that, but I mean, I make a lot of stuff. So whatever. Like I said,
No, it's
I'm
just
trying.
it's
I'm trying to cram all this stuff into a truncated
ex-
timeline, and I'm like, let's
exactly
get these things out and tell people about it. I'm not hiding anything. Like
right.
people like Denny at Security Hall, so helpful. And then when I tell people that are starting out in social, if you like something I did, copy it. Like you
Heck
don't
yeah.
even
Why
have to
not?
be
Yeah.
you don't like just send me you don't even have to send me a message. Just like copy. I'll be like, man, that's cool. They got a
Yeah.
bunch of
Good
follows from
stuff,
that
dude.
stuff too. Because
Yeah.
I get a lot of ideas from other people's stuff and I make it my own. Like just copy this stuff, make it your own.
Yeah.
And hopefully you learn something in somebody else. And that's way better than negative. Like
Right.
this bringing people down. No, go ahead, man. Uh, let's be positive. Come at things from a positive direction and stay in a positive direction. And God, we'll be happier and healthier and
Yeah,
fitter and
bro.
all kinds of
Yeah.
all kinds of
Yeah, all
man.
the ers. All the good
All right,
ers.
all
For
right.
real though.
I think so. We I'm evolving the welcome back uh, episodes, and I missed this on the first two ones, but I keep saying this phrase. And I think I'm just going to, because we did the 5 questions in the first
Oh yeah.
episode when you come on,
That's right.
but now it's just on the return one is generally, come back on and you've got a thing or you've got a in your case, a book or something you're trying to do. Everybody's got a project, right? So in 12 Rules for Life, Jordan Peterson's book at the end, he gets that pen, that writes. You can write at night. It illuminates the paper in front of you. So, and he says a line in there. And I got to look this up to make sure it's correct because I've said it on the show several times. But what will I do with my pen of light? So then you can take out pen of light and put in with what you're doing, whether it's the platform or the book. So now, what will you do with your pen of light going forward?
It's a great question. So short-term target is getting that book launch out. Long-term target is, dude, I want to change the culture and how we approach these stigmas. And I'm going to bring light to these stigmas that are keeping people trapped. Um, I don't know how to quantify that, to be honest, but if I can reach as many people as possible and phrase it and put it in a way that can reach the hardest of hearts out there, you know, then I've succeeded. If I can get that grumpy sergeant major who hates his life to resonate and open or even hear about my book and read it and get something out of it and change his perspective, that's success for me, man. Like, because those are the hardest to reach people, but those are also the most needed to reach people, if that makes sense.
I love it. I love it. Any way that I can help you, you obviously know to reach out to me and let me know. And I'll do whatever I can, um, whenever I can, as long as I can. And we'll see where all this thing goes. Again, Nick, I appreciate you reaching out to me. The Nick O'Kelly on Instagram. And the book is, well, you tell everybody.
The book is my website is thenickokelly.com/stigma. If you want to pre-order it, it is available today. And for this audience and this audience only, hit up Nick or myself, and there's a promo code if you want a signed copy for a discount. But I am not doing that for everybody. I'm just doing it for my fellow GBs.
All right, brother. I'll have links to everything in the show description. Again, I appreciate you reaching out and coming back on. You got anything for me?
No, man. Thanks again for what you're doing too and the encouragement throughout my process. I appreciate it.
It's an honor. Bye, everybody.